Tottenham Hotspur's season took another surreal twist off the pitch last night, as controversy, tension and personality once again collided with footballing reality. The club, already juggling frustrations on the field and mounting scrutiny off it, woke to headlines dominated by two starkly different stories, one involving police lights flashing across Soho after Ivan Toney's late-night altercation, and the other featuring James Maddison reopening his now famous media sparring match with Roy Keane. 29, who only recently joined Spurs and is still navigating life in London under the microscope of Premier League stardom, was arrested in the early hours of Saturday morning following an alleged violent confrontation with fans at 100 Wardour Street in Soho. According to eyewitnesses and early police reports, the situation began when a group approached the striker for a selfie, before one individual placed their hands around his neck. Toney was heard repeatedly saying, "Get off me, get off me," moments before allegedly headbutting one of the men. The Sun reported the victim suffered a broken nose and a fractured ring finger, with blood seen around the bridge of his nose as emergency services arrived. The London Ambulance Service later confirmed they assessed 3 people at 1:57 a.m. One was transported to hospital, while 2 were discharged at the scene. The Metropolitan Police confirmed an arrest, with a spokesperson stating, "A 29-year-old man was arrested at the scene on suspicion of 2 counts of assault and 1 count of affray. He has since been released on bail while inquiries continue." Witnesses suggested Toney may have believed the men were attempting to steal his jewellery, a concern not unfamiliar in Premier League circles, after a rise in targeted robberies on high-profile footballers in recent years. Police cuffed Toney at his table inside the venue, escorted him outside in front of several bystanders, and later returned to the location to continue gathering information and CCTV evidence. While Spurs will now discuss the matter internally and await legal clarity, the story only fuels the perception of chaos currently surrounding the club even before stepping onto a pitch. Meanwhile, in a far less dramatic but equally headline-grabbing subplot, James Maddison re-entered the conversation on Monday night, this time on Sky Sports, as he reflected on his now infamous war of words with Manchester United legend Roy Keane. The feud began last season when Keane criticised the midfielder ahead of Spurs' match against United, suggesting Maddison lacked influence, and questioned whether his return would elevate Tottenham's level. Maddison responded then in the most footballer-approved manner possible by scoring the winner against United, performing his trademark dart celebration, and silencing critics in the stands. Months later, after Tottenham lifted the Europa League trophy, Maddison reignited the back-and-forth live on CBS Sport with a smirking message. "Roy Keane, that's for you, son." Now, speaking on Monday Night Football, the 29-year-old acknowledged the exchange with humour, insisting there was no animosity and that the entire saga was more theatre than hostility. "I love Roy Keane," Maddison admitted. "If I'm watching TV, I'm watching Roy because he's box office. He gave me criticism, and I scored if you're not allowed to hit back a little. What's the point?" Jamie Carragher, watching alongside him, approved I love that personality. Character. Why should players just sit there and take criticism? That was brilliant. For Spurs, Maddison's return to public attention brings mixed emotions, a reminder of the creative spark they've been missing. The midfielder has yet to play a competitive minute this season, after suffering a cruel ACL injury in pre-season, though he has now returned to light training on grass. The club remains cautious and he is still expected to be out for at least several more months. Across both stories, one messy, one playful, Tottenham's week reflects the ongoing contradiction that has hovered around the club. Compelling personalities, dramatic headlines, and the constant sense that events off the pitch are trying to compete with the football itself. In a period where stability and focus are desperately needed, Spurs once again find themselves starring in a script that feels more like a documentary series than a football season. Whether this latest turbulence unravels momentum or galvanises unity will become clear soon enough. But one thing is certain, Tottenham never seem far from the spotlight, whether they want it or not. Tottenham Hotspur are entering a decisive phase of their season, both on and off the pitch, with January developments now beginning to shape the remainder of Thomas Frank's campaign. The club continue to work quietly but aggressively in the market, with attacking reinforcements prioritised and several names now firmly under evaluation. Among them, Bournemouth forward Antoine Semenyo, has emerged as one of the most significant subjects of discussion inside Tottenham's recruitment department. The 24-year-old, whose release clause is understood to be set at £65 million, has attracted interest from multiple Premier League sides, but Spurs are believed to be among the most persistent in exploring a potential deal. That pursuit intensified following comments from Ghana head coach Otto Addo, who suggested Semenyo is approaching the stage where a move to a larger club is the most logical next step in his career. Addo described the forward's growth as progression rather than surprise, with those remarks interpreted by some as a quiet green light ahead of a possible transfer. Tottenham's efforts are not limited to wide attacking areas, with reinforcements in midfield now viewed as equally essential. Brighton's Carlos Baleba remains on the radar after the South Coast club lowered their valuation from around £100 million to £75 million. Tottenham have held internal discussions regarding whether Baleba represents the right balance of cost, development potential, and immediate squad impact. His form this season has been mixed, but those inside Spurs believe his ceiling remains high and that the player would thrive in Postecoglou's possession-focused system. Brighton's willingness to identify Aston Villa youngster Lamar Bogard as a potential replacement is being interpreted as another sign the Seagulls are preparing for negotiation if the right offer arrives. Tottenham also remain active in monitoring emerging talent, and Anderlecht winger Nilson Angelo is another name now linked with the club following a breakout season in Belgium. The Ecuadorian has impressed scouts with his pace, intelligence and end product, registering a strong return of goals and assists across league and European competition. Tottenham are one of at least 5 English clubs who have held scouting presence in recent weeks, though the player is reportedly keen to delay any move until the summer to maintain rhythm ahead of international competition. Former Spurs scout Brian King has added another dimension to the midfield conversation by urging the club to revive interest in Conor Gallagher. The England international is expected to be made available by Atletico Madrid after discussions with head coach Diego Simeone made it clear he is no longer viewed as a long-term option. King believes Gallagher would slot seamlessly into Tottenham's midfield structure alongside Yves Bissouma and James Maddison, who remains on schedule to return from injury later this month. As the market unfolds, Tottenham's focus is clear: improve depth, increase competition for starting roles, and maintain momentum in the fight for European qualification. Postecoglou has made no attempt to disguise his ambition, repeatedly insisting the club must act decisively if they are to compete with the league's elite. Tottenham have been criticised in previous years for hesitation during key windows, but this month feels different. There is intent, there is urgency, and there is a recognition that missing out again could stall progress at a critical stage of the project. For now, negotiations continue behind the scenes, discussions remain active, and Tottenham's long-term direction is being shaped day by day. Whether Semenyo arrives, whether Baleba becomes the marquee midfield signing, or whether another late option emerges, Spurs are preparing to move, and the coming weeks will determine just how ambitious their winter business truly becomes.